Hey friends, welcome to Story Orchard. Here, stories are not just for fun, they also make your English reading and listening better. Let's dive right into today's story. Family is supposed to be a shelter, a place of comfort, yet sometimes the very walls of that home can suffocate you when privacy no longer exists. Imagine a young man named Daniel who lived with his parents and siblings in a modest but crowded house where every conversation was overheard and every personal choice was judged. Daniel was an ambitious student who dreamed of building his career, but his family believed that sharing everything was a sign of unity, while in reality it was a slow erosion of individuality. Each morning when he woke up, his mother would already be checking his phone to see who had called. His father would question his expenses as if every penny spent was a family crime, and his siblings would laugh at his private messages with friends. This constant intrusion created a pressure cooker of emotions inside him, making him angry and defensive, yet unable to openly protest because respect for elders had been drilled into his upbringing. But respect without boundaries is not love, it is submission, and Daniel was starting to feel like a prisoner in his own home. Privacy is not betrayal, it is a necessity, but in many families, especially traditional ones, privacy is misinterpreted as secrecy. The tension escalated when Daniel started talking to a girl named Emily from his university, a friend who understood his frustrations and respected his silence. The problem was, his family discovered their chats one evening when his sister accidentally picked up his phone. What followed was chaos, suspicion, and a heated interrogation that made Daniel feel like a criminal instead of a young adult finding his path. That night, while everyone else slept, Daniel stared at the ceiling thinking, is love always about sacrifice? Or does love mean respecting space too? The next morning, the atmosphere in Daniel's house was like walking into a storm that had no end. His mother slammed the breakfast plate in front of him without even looking into his eyes. His father sat stiff and silent, yet his silence was louder than words. And his sister whispered mockingly about his so-called secret life. Daniel felt as if he was standing on trial in his own home, punished for wanting nothing more than the right to breathe freely. Privacy is not about hiding sins. It is about building trust, but his family did not understand that distinction. They believed closeness meant constant monitoring. That evening, the situation erupted when Daniel returned late from the library. His father blocked the door with furious eyes, demanding explanations for every hour, every step, every text on his phone. Anger burned in Daniel's chest as he shouted, "For the first time, I am not a child anymore. I deserve respect. I deserve space." His voice echoed through the house like thunder, shocking everyone who had always seen him as the obedient son. His father roared back with the authority of tradition. "This is our house, our rules, nothing is private here." The clash of generations, of values, of freedom versus control, ripped through the walls like an earthquake, shaking the foundation of love they once claimed to have. Daniel's mother cried, torn between protecting her son and standing with her husband, while his siblings sat in silence, secretly wishing they had the courage Daniel displayed. That night, Daniel locked himself in his room, tears of frustration rolling down his face, writing in his journal words he had never spoken aloud. Family without respect is a prison, and love without freedom is a chain. He stared at those words again and again, realizing that the real war was not between him and his parents, but between tradition and individuality. The silence in the house after that night was heavier than words, like every wall carried the weight of anger and hurt. Daniel avoided his father's gaze, his mother avoided Daniel's room, and meals were no longer moments of love but quiet battles of pride. Yet deep inside, Daniel still longed for his family's acceptance, and his father, though stubborn, feared losing the son he loved, but did not know how to understand. One weekend, during a family gathering, the tension finally cracked when Daniel's younger cousin asked him, "Why don't you smile anymore?" The innocent question pierced through the air like a blade, forcing everyone to see the truth they had ignored. Daniel stood up, trembling but determined, and spoke with a voice filled with both pain and strength. "Privacy is not rejection, it is respect. I am not asking to leave you, I am asking you to trust me. If you keep treating me like a criminal, one day you will lose me for real." His words struck the room, and for the first time, his father's stern face softened into reflection. Later that night, his father knocked on Daniel's door, something he rarely did, and entered without the usual authority, but with hesitation, as if stepping into unknown ground. He sat quietly for a while before admitting, "I never learned about privacy because my father gave me none, and I thought that was love, but I see now it only creates distance." That single confession broke the iron wall between them, and tears came to Daniel's eyes as he realized his father's control was never about hate, but about fear of losing him. From that day, small changes began to bloom. His father knocked before entering his room. His mother respected his need for silence when he studied, and family dinners turned into conversations instead of interrogations. It wasn't perfect. Arguments still happened, but there was growth, a bridge being rebuilt one brick at a time. Daniel learned that families can evolve if courage meets compassion, and his parents learned that love is not proven by control but by trust. Standing in his room one night, looking out the window at the city lights, Daniel whispered to himself, "Privacy and family are not enemies, they are two wings of the same bird. Without one, the other cannot fly." The days after the confrontation felt different. The house was still heavy with emotions, but a change had begun. Daniel noticed small things, his father knocking before entering, his mother asking instead of assuming, his sister defending his right to privacy in front of relatives. Yet Daniel still carried the question, can family truly respect boundaries? Or will blood always be an excuse to invade? The answer came one evening at dinner when his mother admitted, "Every time you closed your door, I feared losing you." And his father added, "I promised myself I'd never control my children like my father did. But maybe I did it in another way." For the first time, they spoke with honesty, and Daniel replied, "Family is not lost through privacy, it is strengthened by it." Those words shifted everything. His father defended him in front of relatives. His sister admitted she too wanted the same freedom, and Daniel felt proud that his struggle had opened doors for others. The real test came again when his father questioned his weekend plans with friends. But instead of anger, Daniel calmly said, "I will always return, but if you guilt me every time, I'll start avoiding home." His father, though tense, nodded, and that small nod was the biggest victory. Over time, the fights lessened, respect grew, and love became freer. On Daniel's 20th birthday, his parents gave him a carved wooden key engraved with, "To your space, with our trust." Tears filled his eyes because it wasn't just a gift. It was acceptance, apology, and promise. That night, as he looked out at the glowing city lights, he whispered, "Privacy and family are not enemies, they are partners." Privacy protects individuality, family nurtures belonging, and together they create a life worth living. Thanks for listening with Story Orchard. Share your thoughts below, hit subscribe, and let me know where you're watching from. I love reading your comments.